Hello and welcome back to Spokane Talks News Matters. Today I'm here with Scotty running against Marcus Riccelli out in which district was it?
That's the third district.
Third district
Yep.
for state representative, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Well, recently we just had the primaries, of course, here in Washington State. And Scotty, congratulations on
Thank you.
making it into the top two.
Yeah.
And I think you were one of only two running,
Yes,
correct?
so, hey, it's pretty easy. But I had a great experience in the primary. This was my very first time running for office. I don't have a campaign manager. I'm running a very lean campaign. And what I did was I kind of just walked around town and I talked to people in our city. In the third district, you represent a large portion of our city, and had great conversations with people on their doorstep. And the numbers came out, and I am very excited to have this benchmark.
Yeah.
As I continue forward in the general election, just getting myself introduced to the community. And so now we make sure people have an understanding of what their choice is in this. Mm-hmm. And also, we work hard to encourage people to vote in the general election. We need some good turnout.
Yeah, and usually I was going to say midterm elections don't usually turn out as well as, say, presidential elections and in presidential years 2024. Mm-hmm. But I think with big key topics, especially here locally, inflation, high gas prices associated with that, the economic burdens, high crime, I think the Republican Party is seated in a good enough position to where a lot of these candidates might come out swinging and
Well, you know what's
win.
interesting is that the conversations I just had over and over again with people in our city were actually very focused around some of what you mentioned, but public safety is a concern of people. It's a high priority for people, what they want, and I was so encouraged by the conversations I had with young people in our city as well, because the overwhelming consensus that I received from residents in Spokane is that they want a state representative who is going to have a positive working relationship with our police department. I built that when I was assistant to the mayor and city administrator for 2 years, and I'm proudly endorsed by the Spokane Police Guild, and I am so excited to form that partnership, and it's going to be a very positive thing. But if I get this job, and I'd be so honored to do it, we're going to make safety a priority, and that's going to happen through the laws in our state. But another thing that people talked about a lot, of course, is the cost of living, and people were quite perplexed by the fact that we had a $15 billion surplus in the state budget, and yet somehow taxes are being increased. I think what we should actually be doing is finding ways to give back to the residents of our city. We could do that in the form of tax relief.
And if you look over the past, I was just going to say, a couple of years, our tax revenues here in Washington State have been growing exponentially.
Right. So we have a situation in which, majority members of the legislature, including Marcus Riccelli, voted and approved a gas tax that's potentially going to raise the price of gas over 40 cents next year. Wow. How unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary, especially when inflation is in times. I get it that the Democrats want to help mitigate the climate, and climate change is occurring. We've seen this is evident, but you can't do it while taxing the consumers.
Well, why can't we accomplish things through things like incentive?
Right.
It always has to be a form of punishment, it seems, from this other side. And I don't like it, and people in our city don't like it. And so what we're going to do, if I get in there, and there's a number of great candidates running for state representative, we're going to get in there and we're going to bring common sense back to the laws in our state. I think it's so important. As a 29-year-old, what I want to do is I want to be common sense. I want to be pragmatic. And that's what the people in our city, I think largely that's what they want. And I am excited to continue talking to people. But I also want to be very candid about the decision that people have. In this election, you can choose between two people, myself or Marcus Riccelli, and it's so interesting because at a time when Marcus Riccelli was working from a place of animosity towards police officers and instituting policies that have unfortunately caused unsafe conditions in
Dire
our city.
consequences.
That's correct. Unsafe conditions in our city, and for our wonderful and heroic police officers that we respect and thank so much for what they're doing. But he was instituting policies that put unsafe conditions on us that were unnecessary.
Such as the chasing policy,
right,
or whatever.
Yes, you can look back and identify so many, but I was in the mayor's office at that time as assistant to the mayor and city administrator. What I was doing while Marcus was instituting policies that were considered anti-police and put our police officers in jeopardy, as well as created unsafe conditions in our community, I was in the mayor's office as assistant to the mayor and city administrator, building a positive working relationship with our police officers because I respect them, and I'm the one who's endorsed by the Spokane Police Guild. I'm so grateful for that. But also, while I was, meeting developers and business owners and learning about how we can address the housing crisis in our state, what I want to do is find out how I can help as a state lawmaker. It's interesting because Marcus was instituting energy codes that are actually going to make it harder to build in our state. I'm endorsed by the Associated Builders and Contractors. I am so honored by their endorsement. I look forward to doing things like making it easier to build condos in our state. But there's a lot of things that I think we could do, to help with the housing. I look forward to learning more. And I think the choice is clear. And I will say to the people in Spokane, vote for me, because I will do a better job for you. I can do this better, and I will get us some great results. We're going to work on improving the safety of our city. We're going to work on lowering or providing tax relief to people. And, we're going to do what we can to be common sense and pragmatic. And I look forward to being a representative who does that.
Well, Scott, we really do appreciate it.
Thank
you
you.
coming on and sharing your views and the results recently of the 2022 primaries.
Yes.
And hopefully you go out swinging here in the election coming up. And it's
Well,
November 8th, correct?
That's correct. We've got some time. It's going to be a really exciting few months here. I look forward to meeting more people in my hometown that I love so much. And I look forward to the conversations that I'm going to be able to continue to have. So I'm so thankful to be here, and I would be honored to have the support of the people in Spokane.
Okay. Well, Scott, yet again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Can you believe it was like 6 weeks ago that we drove by? Did it, babe? We did it. Now your eyes are all teary.